The United States military has gone woke. Watch my video, learn all about it.
And the Army now lowering the physical fitness standard for women and older troops who struggle to pass the yearly test.
There have been 3 years of complaints and a high failure rate. Actually, 48% of all active duty women.
The COVID vaccine will be included on the list of medical requirements for service members.
The president's plan is getting mixed reaction, and that includes members of the military who've been seeking legal help to avoid the vaccine.
And if they say I'm making them feel uncomfortable because I'm not being diverse or inclusive, then that someone could report to the purple rope, and then the purple rope would come after me.
Today, there are more than 18 million living veterans in the United States, representing 6% of the population. Our country's military has fought and died for freedom and liberty for our people and countless other nations. But a new enemy threatens our military from within.
Above all, you will have a responsibility to deter war as well as to fight it. Our forces, therefore, must fulfill a broader role as a complement to our diplomacy, as an arm of our diplomacy, as a deterrent to our adversaries, and as a symbol to our
In 2023, the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Reserves all missed their recruiting goals. In 2024, the total number of active duty troops is the smallest it's been since 1940. Yet the number of civilian Department of Defense employees is higher than ever.
And if that wasn't disheartening enough, look at this ridiculous, silly, woke recruitment ad from the Army.
Although I had a fairly typical childhood, took ballet, played violin, I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age. When I was 6 years old, one of my moms had an accident that left her paralyzed. Doctors said she might never walk again. But she tapped into my family's pride to get back on her feet, eventually standing at the altar to marry my other mom. With such powerful role models, I finished high school at the top of my class, and then attended UC Davis, where I joined a sorority full of other strong women. But as graduation approached, I began feeling like I'd been handed so much in life, a sorority girl stereotype. Sure, I'd spent my life around inspiring women, but what had I really achieved on my own? One of my sorority sisters was studying abroad in Italy. Another was climbing Mount Everest. I needed my own adventures, my own challenge. And after meeting with an Army recruiter, I found it. A way to prove my inner strength and maybe shatter some stereotypes along the way. I'm U.S. Army Corporal Emma Malone Lord, and I answered my calling.
Aw, I'm glad you found your calling, hon. And then it gets even more ludicrous.
This drag queen recruiting initiative, is that strictly a Navy project? Or are you going to have the other services also get involved? Is there going to be an Army drag queen, Air Force drag queen, that sort of thing? Is it strictly a Navy project?
Well, I would say first, and at the top, just looking at this holistically, we are incredibly proud of those who decide to serve, and that's every young American who decides to serve and to take the oath, to put their line on the line in defense of our country. Again, the program I believe that you're referring to was the Navy Digital Ambassador Program, which was a pilot outreach effort. It was not a recruiting effort. For more information on that, I would direct you to the Navy.
So we see that the military is infested with this DEI policies. And you know what, guys? It comes from the top.
First of all, on the issue of critical race theory, et cetera, I'll obviously have to get much smarter on whatever the theory is. But I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read. And the United States Military Academy is a university. And it is important that we train and we understand. And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white. And I want to understand it. So what is it that caused thousands of people to assault this building and try to overturn the Constitution of the United States of America. What caused that? I want to find that out. I want to maintain an open mind here, and I do want to analyze it. It's important that we understand that because our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians, they come from the American people. So it is important that the leaders, now and in the future, do understand it. I've read Mao Zedong. I've read Karl Marx. I've read Lenin. That doesn't make me a communist. So what is wrong with understanding, having some situational understanding about the country for which we are here to defend? And I personally find it offensive that we are accusing the United States military, our general officers, our commissioned, non-commissioned officers, of being, quote, woke or something else because we're studying some theories that are out there. That was started at Harvard Law School years ago, and it proposed that there were laws in the United States, antebellum laws prior to the Civil War, that led to a power differential with African Americans that were 3/4 of a human being when this country was formed. And then we had a Civil War and Emancipation Proclamation to change it. And we brought it up to the Civil Rights Act in 1964. It took another 100 years to change that. So look I do want to know. And I respect your service, and you and I are both Green Berets. But I want to know. And it matters to our military and the discipline and cohesion of this military. And I thank you for the opportunity to make a comment on that.
So what happens when the military is obsessed with diversity, equity, inclusion? What happens when the administration is obsessed with diversity, equity, inclusion? This is what happens right here.
We allowed this terrorist bomber to kill these 13 Americans and 170 Afghans and horribly maim many others when according to testimony that Congress has received, this bomber had been identified. Test runs of bombings had been conducted in the days prior to the bombing. Our intel guys had identified what the bomber looked like. And according to the testimony of Sergeant Vargas Andrews, a 25-year-old sniper was blown up that day. He arrived on August 16th at his post. On August the 22nd, they were advised an IED probe, a practice run by the Taliban had been performed near the airport there near the gate where he was deployed. Days later, they received word to be on the lookout for 2 specific vehicles. These are all signs of intelligence that had been harvested from the field. And around 2 a.m. on August 26th, the intel guys advised his sniper nest that the suicide bomber in the vicinity had been identified. He was described as clean-shaven, brown dress wearer, black vest, traveling with a companion. This sniper asked the intel guys, why wasn't he apprehended if we had a full description of him? The intel guy said they didn't have authorization to pick him up. Later, the man was spotted by this sniper from noon to 1 p.m. That he was in the crowd. They had him in their sights. He was behaving in manners that indicated, according to their training, he was about to activate his vest. He was being guided and coached by an older Islamic jihadist man there. It was very serious. They advised their chain of command. Said, please come and look at what we've got. We've got this guy. Their chain of command came to the nest and told them that they did not have green light to shoot the guy and they were not going to arrest him. Why? Quote, leadership did not have the engagement authority. Do not engage. We had identified the bomber. Our intel guys did their work. The Biden administration would not authorize the shooting nor the arrest of the bomber that killed these 13 Americans and 170 of our Afghan allies and wounded and maimed many, many others. Why?